I'm getting better at trusting the moment. So rather than thinking, I've always been someone, I was brought up by quite an anxious mother, and you always have to think ahead, like, but if this happens, then what? You have to plan and you have to like worry and you have to work everything out in your head in advance. And impro is the absolute, it's an impossibility to do that. So I think working with you, I can trust myself in the moment. It doesn't mean everything works out perfectly, but it's more just like we have resources. Anxious mind doesn't know about them and it thinks, well, I've got to plan because otherwise I'm going to be helpless in the moment. I'm not going to have any resources. When I come to improv classes, I get to try that out and see, like, is that true? Will I find what I need in the moment? And it
Okay.
is true in my experience. Not that it goes perfectly, but just that I have what I need. And there all kinds of things happen that I couldn't possibly have planned. And there's a real joy and a pleasure in that. So I'm a life coach for creative artists. So it's not therapy, although I do have a counseling background. It's much more about helping people get in touch with themselves on as deep a level as possible. So I did a master's in psychology that was very experiential. So we did a lot of coaching and counseling work. We learned a lot of skills over 2 years and we practiced them constantly with each other. But we also did a lot of, research and essay writing and all of the academic side. The bottom line was always about, are you embodying the work? It's like the deeper you've gone, the more you're able to help other people. The main philosophy was the person in front of you already has their own answers. It's like they don't need fixing, giving them that respect and dignity of their own process. If you hold for them, in a compassionate way, they're going to open up. They're going to find out whatever it is that they need. It's because it's inside. I don't know what's right for the other person. Like, we've got to have the humility that we might think, oh, I know what that person needs. But it's like, no, you don't. So maybe with a session when I'm working with a client, I'll have some ideas about what we might do during that hour, but I've got to respond in the moment to what they bring. Maybe something suddenly changes for them. It's part of the work that I've been doing on myself is to start to just trust that it's going to be okay. Even if they burst into tears or they get angry or they fall apart or they don't understand or they get stuck, that somehow or other it's going to work out. And that actually there's a real playfulness that can come forward as well in the moment, even though what I'm doing is serious with them. But the more I can bring humor and playfulness, it can be just a really healing part of a session. I'm quite a quirky person, really. And I think I always thought I was quite a sort of square person, but there is a quirkiness in there. And improv's really helped me access that. It's useful in any profession, really, to feel like you've got access to not being afraid to appear strange or awkward or
But you got access to your entire self.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes I say things that just surprise people, and that's
Mm.
also quite helpful, I think. Not being afraid to be a bit weird is quite a gift, actually.
All the stuff you told me about your work and the way you work with your clients, which I found very moving and very interesting, to me, they're totally improvisational. This thing
Yeah.
of I don't have the answer, this is
Mm.
such an improvisational way to come into the space of
Yeah.
not knowing and being comfortable with that.
Yeah, and it's funny when you say that, I still feel like there's a little bit of nervousness. It is a stretch to stay in that place, but it's worth it. And I mean, I still get nervous coming to improv class sometimes, particularly if I haven't been for a while. I'm on the train and I'm aware I'm nervous about
Hmm.
coming to the class because, you never know what's going to happen. But it's a kind of joyful nervousness.
I've been following your career. I hope that one day I'll be sitting in the audience, see you perform.
It's only for the village. It's very small time. The core of the group is quite good actors, actually, so it's fun. And I
Okay.
use everything from impro when I'm doing it, because like I see people getting terribly nervous and I just don't get nervous. I have the confidence to know that whatever happens, it's going to be all right, really. It's funny, I just don't get stage fright anymore. And I think that's because of impro.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get stage fright the first production you had with them?
I had stage fright the first show I did with you.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
That was terrifying because I couldn't prepare, and I'd grown up all my life that you prepare to within an inch of your life. You work yourself into the ground to be ready. And here I was coming to the show and I had no idea what I was doing and I hadn't practiced. It's like one of those nightmares
Yeah,
that you
Well,
have when you're a performer. So that was a big shift. Yeah.
the simple practice of being on stage. Yeah,
Mm.
whatever you're doing, whether you're improvising or not. You mentioned another layer, which is unprepared. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. That's another layer of anxiety, I guess. But the simple fact of being on stage and being seen, and the more you're going to do it, and that's also
Yeah,
how
it's true.
sometimes stage fright evaporates.
Well, funnily enough, I specialize a lot in that in my work with people because they are performers. So I've actually been able to help people with that because a lot of it is to do with exactly what thoughts and images they're holding onto in their mind and beliefs that they may not be aware of. So I think it is possible to heal a lot of that.